Hi, today I will be discussing intimate partner violence as well as 3 infographics that relate to that subject. I am selecting this subject because I'm a current social work major and this is a topic that sparks a lot of interest in my field, thus being my reason. So, intimate partner violence is becoming an escalating issue due to its prevalence and how common it's become as of lately in today's society and it being accepted by a lot of society. And intimate partner violence is a significant health problem and affects millions of Americans every year. There are numerous definitions for intimate partner violence, but to put it in simple terms, it's just any physical, psychological, or sexual harm inflicted by a current or former partner, whether it's a same sex or heterosexual relationship. And many people overlook this ongoing problem either because they haven't been through it themselves or they just don't understand the severity of it and haven't been around it. And most people fail to realize that intimate partner slash domestic violence happens everywhere. Odds are we probably all know someone that has undergone this tragedy. And the first infographic that I selected came from NBC News, and I know NBC News isn't necessarily said to be super credible or reliable, but I know it's reliable because all the references they used that are depicted on the bottom of the infographic are very reliable, such as the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, U.S. Department of Justice, and several more. The references provided by NBC weren't 100% credible and factual, then I wouldn't have selected this infographic. And this infographic was published in 2014, and I know that may seem a bit outdated, but the information on here is so similar to the information regarding IPV today that I decided that it would be okay to select and use for this final project, thus being my reason. And I believe this infographic's primary purpose is to inform and raise awareness on the subject and issue of intimate partner violence. There is no real persuasion placed within this infographic. And I would say this audience would probably be teenagers and adults or just anyone that's old enough to be in a relationship. And I would also say this infographic has a pretty flat design due to the fact that it's just like mainly one color all the way across, blue, and it just gets straight to the point, just has straight facts all the way on there. And that's why I believe that it was made by a critical thinker and why I feel like critical thinkers would be more attracted to it. And if I were to give this author one point of advice or one suggestion, I would maybe say cut down on some of the facts and just stick to a few of the main points because it seems a bit packed too tightly. And maybe if they took a few things out, it would be easier to read. And with that being said, I'm going to move on to talking about the second infographic that I've selected. And the second infographic that I've selected, it came from the Legal Services Corporation, and it's credible because that's a government-based website, which means the URL ends in .gov. And I was unable to discover date of publication, but like the previous infographic, all the information is very relevant and similar to the information today, which is why I selected it, and it is a very credible source. And I would say this infographic has a more animated style due to the pictures and the more pop out feeling it gives you and all the bright colors it uses. And, well, not all the bright colors, but it uses purple, which is a pretty bright color, not something you normally use. And with that being said, I would say that this infographic is directed definitely more towards creative thinkers rather than critical thinkers because of this animated style, which is also why I think a creative thinker made this infographic. And I think the main purpose of this infographic would be to inform and, like the first one, raise awareness on the issue of intimate partner violence, or IPV for short. And the only suggestion that I would maybe give to the author is to possibly select a color other than purple, because to me that's not very attractive, and I don't know how everyone else feels, but I'm not a big fan of purple. So that's my one tip. And the third infographic, which is displayed right above me, is the infographic that I've created. My purpose for creating this infographic is to emphasize the problem of IPV, just discuss the shelters and how many there are across the United States for women, and statistics that highlight the prevalence as well as cost of IPV. I used several different colors, but my primary color was yellow, and this was to draw more attention. It's a more cheery color, and it's a lot brighter. And I thought more creatively and used a more animated style on this infographic versus the first infographic that I made in my draft. And I made these changes because I wanted to challenge myself, because I typically think a lot more critically, so I wanted to make myself think creatively this time around. And I believe it would be more attractive to creative thinkers for that reason. And I balanced my infographic out by using 2 facts up top and 2 on the bottom. And the audience of my infographic, like the previous 2, adults, teenagers, and anyone old enough to be in a relationship. With all that being said, I'm done here. Thank you for listening.